All right. Welcome to Bible Memory Goal, coming to you live from Dallas, Texas. I'm actually here with Becky Freiberg, who,
Hello.
if you didn't know, she is our community director, runs all things on the community side of things, while I do a lot here on YouTube, on Twitter, email, all that kind of stuff. And so for the first time ever, we have met.
In person.
Yes.
I think it's 2 years ago. I met you on the interwebs.
Yes.
And here we are in person, first time.
I know. And it has been really neat to finally make those connections. We've spent this entire day really doing strategic planning, strategic meetings related to the future of Bible Memory Goal and where we're headed. So if this is something that you're interested in, if you've been following us for a little while, or if you are on your own Bible memory journey, I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing with you. You know, we've got just ideas of what we're doing, and then we're open to your feedback as well. So hopefully this can be a little bit of give and take. We've got it open for your comments. So if you want to just comment real quick to let us know what part of the world you're coming from, and just maybe even what time is it there, because who knows, for the first time I'm doing a live stream from the US. Mm-hmm. So it's a regular time for me. It's like 8 p.m. Whereas normally I'm waking up at like 5 a.m. to do these live streams. And I always feel bad because I feel like I've got bags under my eyes whenever I get on these live streams. One of the things we were talking about is you said, what is the big thing that you noticed about me when you first met me for the first time is what?
I had no idea Josh was like over 6 feet tall. I had no idea he's a tall guy. I had no idea. And I'm 5'2". So yeah, that was shocking to me.
Yeah. So she's now sitting on a stool, like an elevated stool, just to make sure.
Trying to add some height, so I'm not
Yeah, she's also visiting from California, which is, I believe, where your home is. Right?
Born and raised, native Californian.
And so she's here in Texas in the summer. So she's hearing for the first time cicadas. Have you guys do you know what I'm talking about when I say cicadas and that buzz noise that always happens?
You guys, the buzzing. If you step outside, it's all you can hear, and you think they're coming after you. And really, that's what you feel like. So,
well, let's look. We've got Jonathan Bradford from Canada. I believe Jonathan and I might actually get to connect. I think if I might be crossing my wires here. I think it's Jonathan that I might be able to get to connect with later this month. Mike, hey, we haven't seen you in a while, from Ohio. Tom Tatlow, my friend from who's in Florida. We actually spent a lot of time together in the other part of the world, in Thailand. He actually, we would meet every single week. He and his wife are really good friends of ours. Bible Memory University, that's Steve Zachert. He's been an awesome part of this community. We've got Arkansas, Germany. Sonia, it's got to be late right now or super early. We've got Indiana, Wayne. Glad to have you here. Karen from, is that New England? Or Nebraska? I think that's Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, and then Mary Hickman from Alabama. We got somebody else from Texas. And Larry Dinkins. Larry, you and I have to connect later. We always have to connect. I was actually with a lady from my sister's birthday, and kid you not, she had seen some of my stuff, and she was like, Dinkins, I know Larry. I grew up with.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No way.
So I'm not going to say names over the internet here, but I'll connect with you. And it sounds like they grew up with your family in California, actually.
Okay.
Because he's from California.
We've got some other Southern California people in the house. Yay, represented.
Hey, Cassie, it's nice to see you here, from Georgia, from Missouri. That's awesome. We've got a really cool crew here. And like I said, Becky and I are here. We've been doing a lot of planning. And with my sister as well. And so it's been really good. We got Wayne from New Jersey. And one of the things we kind of wanted to walk through was a little bit of the product timeline and things that we're thinking about as we go through and try to make sure that we're being, this is something I said right before we started this, good. It's not about, how well we're doing or just products or anything. It's trying to steward. I feel like what this audience, this platform, YouTube that we have here with the Bible Memory Goal YouTube, with the podcast, with this community, it's like something. It's like a gift that I feel like I need to steward well. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
because it's not here for me to necessarily make money with, or to definitely not to promote myself, even though it's hard to separate those two. It is one of those things where I just want to make sure that we're doing this well. So the one thing that you may or may not know at this point, so hopefully you guys do know, is that I have a book coming out, and I've submitted the manuscript to my editor. I've got somebody working separately on cover design, on illustrations, and I'm going to have somebody else that's doing kind of the, what would you call it, the layout. So it is going to eventually be a printed book, an ebook, and an audiobook. And having finished the manuscript, I'm honestly really excited about it, because there are books on Bible memory, but there's nothing that really brought in all the different like memory world strategies that into one place. And so I feel like it kind of fills in a gap of something that hasn't been out there before. So I'm only going to have this particular page up that I've got a link for another week, because I have to change it into something else. If you want to be part of the launch team, then you can go here and get just notifications about different things. So I've already sent the first introduction chapter to everybody that's part of the launch team, and I'll be giving a what would you call that? I'll give the full version of the book before it gets launched, so that people can give their feedback. The only request is that people that are part of the launch team will actually purchase the book at the end of it all and leave a review. So that's part of what we're doing here, is just trying to build the momentum, because I do think this is a spiritual discipline that is lacking in a lot of adult believers and adult Christians around the world. But it doesn't mean that people don't want to. It's just, I think a lot of people don't think they can. And so part of what this book is hoping that people can that can make that a part of their routine. I forgot, we were going to do one other thing before we started into all this, and that's go over all the stuff that's like, the analytics of stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So one thing that I did with Becky and then with my executive assistant is we kind of walked over a little bit of, what's happened over the past couple of years. And I wanted to do that with you guys here as well, give you just a little bit of behind the scenes, because, and here's something cool, for the first time, and it only happens once ever, but our YouTube channel crossed 1 million views. You're just seeing the last 365 days, but as of last Friday, we crossed 1 million total views, which is amazing.
That's exciting.
That just means, not 1 million subscribers, we're up to like 20 something thousand subscribers, but 1 million views it's really cool the way that YouTube just kind of allows us to reach a larger global audience. And the majority of new people that come into our community come through the YouTube channel. Some of the bigger videos that we've had over the past year, we've got Keith Farron's video. If you haven't seen that, Keith Farron is just, he's an amazing Bible teacher, and a lot of the things that he shared are really cool. I'm actually going to go see and visit him in Seattle.
That's so great.
In a few weeks. Yay. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to see him in person. And of course, Larry Dinkins, who is here with us live on this live stream as well. His video was the top video for a while until Keith Farron's video just shot
bumped
up.
It out of its spot.
Exactly. But that has really resonated with people. And that's something we're going to kind of talk about, is this idea of outlines and what we're considering as we move forward. And then the secret formula, the little, first letter method. And then again, the outline of John being another big one that did a lot of stuff. This is our podcast. It averages about 2,000 to 3,000 views per month, which as podcasts go is small, but it's really gaining like traction little by little. So that's been a lot of fun. And then finally, this is a back end look at our community. This is the number of new members. So we average, this is on a weekly, every one of those data points is on a weekly basis. So we average between, let's say, 20 and 40 new members every week, which is really cool. And then if you look at that bottom left corner, there's the daily active members and then the monthly active members. Those two are what I love seeing people engage in the community. And if you're not part of our community, I recommend you go and join that if you're wanting that kind of accountability. We have a lot of great people there, but we have jumped up to, on average, about 100 people logging into the community every single day.
That's awesome.
That is so cool. And so that's part of what Becky does here, is she helps a lot in growing that community side of stuff. My focus has been a lot more on the development of resources, because the whole purpose and the vision statement for Bible Memory Goal is to encourage and equip God's people to memorize more of the Bible. And so encouraging is a lot of this kind of content. whether it's on the podcast or YouTube. And then equipping is the development of resources. And that's where I'm kind of walking through some of the things that we've thought through. We've got, I haven't announced this yet, so this is formally being announced right now. The launch of the book is happening on September 10th. Ooh. Which is really nerve-wracking for me because it's like a sprint. For those of you who have ever written a book, you know, and this is, I've even set that, I don't even have it's still in the hands of my editor. So I'm just like praying, and if my editor's watching this, I hope you don't feel like added pressure here. But it's like praying that the timeline that I've set up is enough. And I'm already working on the marketing. I'm already, reaching out to, people who are putting their name and endorsing the book. And it's been a lot of fun. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah. I've had friends who released books, but I've never experienced it myself. So to hear about your process and stuff is amazing. I'm super excited for you.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the community and the new resource that we have.
Yeah.
Super excited.
I mean, for me, it's less about getting my name on a book as it is. Like, I think this is just a really great starting point for people that I think the way that I want to promote the book is just this idea that, hey, if you're either bored with scripture memory, you don't think you can do it, or you think that the only possible way to do it is to repeat it 100 times until you are bored of it, then there are alternatives. And that's the idea here, is to just give you that inspiration, even if you don't use every single one of the strategies. The title of the book is Memorize What Matters. So it kind of comes after the podcast, 12 proven strategies to memorize the Bible, and looking at what those different strategies are. So that's coming in September. We have a challenge at the end of this month.
We do.
So do you want to explain a little bit what that is?
At the end of July, I think July 21st is we're going to hold a 7-day memory challenge where you set your own goal, but we come together as a community to cheer each other on in that goal. It's like daily check-ins, things like that. So the 21st, I think.
21st through the 27th.
Yep. So it's a 7 days. For me, it's a great reboot, because I don't know about you. Sometimes I get out of the habit of memorizing scripture. And so when a challenge is coming, I'm like, oh no, it's time for me to get back into the game. And everyone is so encouraging and supportive. Yeah. So that's what I love about challenges.
That's done within our community, which you don't have to be a part of our community, but if you want to be part of the challenge, you go to BibleMemoryGoal.com/join if you aren't already a part of that. If you're live right now and you're like, you've got the ability to type in a comment, I'd love to hear how many of you have taken part in one of our challenges in the past. And I'd love to hear your experience. Did it legitimately help you progress faster than you thought? Did it help you kind of reboot? Did it help you move into that? That's what I'd love to hear, because these are things, the challenges, I think, are something we're going to try to do once every 2 months.
Yeah, every other month. That's what we're doing. We're going to do it.
So Audacity Draws has a great question. We'll get to questions at the end. Actually.
Totally.
We'll get to questions.
That's a great question, though.
Excellent question. And we will address that, but I will do that in due time. So continuing on for a moment, one of the things that I'm hoping to do, I will be doing, I believe, in August. So I go back, I'm in Dallas right now. I go back into Thailand, our home in Thailand, in the very, very beginning of August. And one of the things that I'm wanting to do, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this, so please leave a comment, let me know where you're at on this. I'm thinking about doing a quick, basically mini course on how to use AI for scripture memory. That's been, I've been getting a lot of questions from people. There's like, hey, how did you create that image? Or what are the ways that I can leverage AI? Like, have you ever used any kind of AI?
I have, and it's all in the prompts, really. It's like how you talk to and tell it what you want.
Exactly.
And then it's like, oh no, that wasn't good, do it again. It's kind of fun to tell it what to do. And it's like, no, you're not listening to me right now, and you have to do that again.
I know.
It's fun.
But it's only fun if you come at it with like an attitude of curiosity.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can get frustrated with that really quick.
Right.
You're not giving me what I want.
Yeah, you gotta be flexible and work with it. It's an amazing tool though. Yes. We definitely can use it, and there's so many ways to use it. But.
So guys, check this out. I showed this to Becky, and I'd love to hear how you thought of it. Okay. I created, and this may be something, this is only gonna be something I'm gonna release to like our patrons right now as we kind of test things out, because I'm always very, very hesitant to put something public that is related to AI. But I've created a personalized AI bot that is trained only on my material. So I basically fed it all of the transcripts from my videos, all of the like articles that I've written on the website, and I told it, hey, you do not go and look elsewhere on the internet to find answers. When I ask a question, you only draw from the material that I gave you. And so it is the Bible Memory Goal AI bot. And so we asked it some questions.
It's so awesome, mind blowing, and it's so incredible because there's so much content. There's so much content at this point with Bible Memory Goal, and if you're looking for something specific, it can tell you, and it pulls from all those resources. It's amazing. I was blown away.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen something like that before.
I haven't figured out how we're gonna release that, but that is something that's kind of on my mind, and it's something that I'm using a lot more. I thought of it this way because there's a lot of fear and like this wondering about how AI is going to be used. Have you ever seen the movie Hidden Figures?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't seen Hidden Figures, it's the story of I think it's the 50s or the 60s.
60s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the early space race, when they had these women, these African-American women who were the calculators, right? And
computers.
Computers.
They're computers.
They were computers.
Yes,
and what that meant is they did all of the calculations. They were fantastic at doing that. But they were also coming at a time when the new computers were being brought in.
The IBM.
The IBM.
The IBM that filled up a whole room.
Exactly.
They were worried.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like and kind of like this idea of just like we're worried about AI, and these ladies were like they were faced with a problem. You can either get really scared of this thing and say, okay, it's going to wipe away our jobs and we're never going to be able to do anything. Or, and what they did is the lady that was leading this group said, okay, we're going to figure out how to use this and we're going to become the experts at this IBM. And suddenly all of these computers then became the people who ran the computer.
Super smart.
And so that's my hope as we think about AI is that we can like try to figure out a way to actually leverage the technology instead of running from it or just sticking our head in the sand or anything like that. And so part of that, like I said, is within the product timeline here is that we're going to be putting out just an AI course that I probably am going to have to build out over time, right? It's like I'm going to have phase one is here's what I've learned so far, and then add to it.
And you can use AI to build it.
Ooh, that's odd. But yes, I could. I've always wondered if I can scan my face in and just let AI do my videos from now on.
You probably could, because did you hear they had a church service totally run by AI at one point?
What?
Yeah, it didn't go over so well.
No,
because it took away the human element, but they literally had videos in a pastor speaking. So that's something that people are testing out with AI, even worship leaders.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's possible.
That's possible. Between September and December, we want to release some additional merch. And the reason I say merch, and that automatically, for some reason, that just kind of that grates at me, just because it sounds like a play for money or something, and it's really not that. I want to provide an alternative gift for people as we head into the holiday season, but two, I found myself as I've been here in the U.S. like wanting to get. Like I want what I wear to be a billboard. Totally. It always is. Like here I am sitting here as a billboard for Under Armour. I don't mind that, but if I had something that actually had a message that really communicates something I believe in, that's what I want. And so this is something I think we're going to try to crowdsource with our community. Is just to see, hey, what maybe not designs, but maybe like sayings. I've seen fun little sayings. I've got a shirt that I just got from a conference that says, "Do less but better."
Okay.
And I wore that around, and I've already had like 2 people stop me, and they're like, "I love that idea. Like, do less but better."
I was gonna say, like, great conversation starters.
Exactly.
Especially the one, like the current design that has like just the first letters, those kind of ones. But I've worn my Bible Memory shirt, and people have asked me about it. So I love it's great.
I want to be able to have more of what we've got. Maybe make it into We've got stickers available. We've got obviously T-shirts available. And more just this idea of I want to create some better conversation starters. Like what you're saying. And then here's the exciting thing, and this is where we're getting into the territory of this is what we've strategized, but we very much welcome your feedback on this. And that is as we head in like new year, if I were to show you like my analytics or our analytics for the past couple of years, December to January, there's a spike because people all around the world start thinking about what they want to do different for the
new year.
Exactly.
Setting those New Year goals.
Set those New Year goals, and scripture memory is sometimes a part of that. And we want to find ways to leverage that to find ways so that people can get plugged in, and then hopefully actually continue with those goals, provide that accountability. And so we wanted to do 2 tracks. One for those people who are just wanting to really dip their toes in, don't quite know what they're going to do. So it's kind of an evolution of the 52 verse challenge that we did last year. except we're going to add different live components to it and more accountability to
Yep.
that,
Mhm.
so that people can memorize 52 verses throughout the course of 2025,
Yeah.
right?
Excellent. Yeah.
And then the other would be people who really want to dive in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the name of this isn't necessarily set in stone, but the idea is memorize your first book of the Bible. So it's it's that idea of, hey, if you want to really get into it, you think that I could memorize a whole book, and now you're going to go do it, right? What was the first book that you ever memorized?
The first book I ever memorized was 2 Timothy, and
It's a good one.
I think this is the most exciting for me because I know that you can do it. You can do it. Like so many people have, and people look at me like, "Wow, a whole book." Believe me, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm not special in any way, but to be able to do it, and it's amazing. The process is amazing. So I'm excited to see that one get started.
Yeah, I think that could be really helpful for people, really just kind of breaking through that barrier of I don't know if I can, and just recognizing no, it is possible, and we can, like through accountability, through different strategies, all of these things. I think that's something that we can do. So that is starting us off into January of 2025, and then as we were looking into the summer of 2025, really thinking about, hey. I've thought about like memory journals, or we discussed this idea of a study journal.
Study and memory journal. So like study a book while you memorize it, and having a journal, a physical journal to take notes in and to study. So something along those lines, right?
Yeah. I've talked with a lot of people who, like, there are a lot of Bible studies out there. And I definitely don't want to try to replace that. And many of them do have like memorize this kind of component to it.
Right.
But it's very much an afterthought, and it's not like a core part of what you're doing there. And I think we would almost want to flip it on its head, where I recognize there is a lot of value to studying while you're memorizing, but still making that memory a very primary portion of it, because that's what really leads you into the meditation of the passage.
For sure.
Yeah.
Love it. That's exciting too. Okay, I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah, but that one's gonna be a lot harder. Like I don't quite know how that one's gonna go.
That's the fun part, to see how it comes together.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
And again, this is now we're getting to the part where, for all this stuff for in 2025, where if you guys have, like, if you feel free to email us, contact@BibleMemoryGoal.com, and you can provide any feedback for any of this stuff, because that would be helpful. And then, the last part of this that we haven't really figured out exactly how to do, and I think this might answer one of the questions that we had, is we're getting a lot of questions from people about doing small groups or doing church groups. And this is something that I love. I love that people are passionate about doing this, and I want to equip people to be able to do that, to start their own accountability groups, in-person groups, church groups, all of that stuff. But that's a different type of material. And one of the things, I think I said this to you, later this month, I've got Janet Pope coming to Dallas.
Okay. Yep.
And we are going to be meeting together. We're hopefully going to do another interview. But one of the things I want to do is I really want to sit down with her and talk about, because if you've heard, my interview with Lisa Anderson, and even talking with, Janet Pope herself, she has created a vibrant small group that does this stuff together. And I want to talk to her about how she does that. Why she does that, not why, but really more like, what are the resources that would make that better or easier, or how could we train other people to do that? Because I think, I don't know about, Janet Pope. She's fantastic, and she does a lot of speaking and writing and stuff, but sometimes you get into the middle of doing something, you don't realize like how what you do is novel and mind-blowing to somebody else.
Like, to you, it's so natural.
Yes.
Like, you didn't really have to explain to somebody else. Like, it just comes so naturally to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think sitting down with her and just saying, hey, how is it exactly that you're creating this group? How did it start? What would you recommend for people going forward? And I want to use that as potentially a way to develop some small group resources, because I agree with whoever, I didn't think there was a question about that, but I really want to see if we can do better at equipping not just individuals, but individuals who want to serve their community in some way, whether it's the church or just their small group, because I do think memorization is better in community.
For sure. And I love the in-person aspect. And I'm excited about this one too. Can I just speak? I'm excited about all of them. So every time we get to a new one, it's gonna be a new favorite. Like, this is the new one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
But I know, like, just being able to come meet Josh in person was awesome. And so just having that in person and seeing people gather around scripture to memorize together, I think it's gonna be amazing to see the stories that come out of that.
Yep.
So
Two other things that I'll add here, and then we'll get to maybe some Q&A. But one is, okay, this is the wild, ideas that were just
Okay.
kind of too far out there that they're not on our list here. But I will say, we did talk about, I think it would be fun to do like a Bible memory silent retreat in
Mhm.
like a really cool place, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, Thailand, for those of you who want to come out to Thailand. Or some other cool place.
Like San Diego.
San Diego. Yes, you don't like flying as much as I
I do not like flying, you guys.
Um, but maybe like eventually we've got to hit a critical mass that we're not at yet. But I'd love to do some kind of in-person something that would just allow us to,
Mhm.
it could be geographic in ways. Hey, we'll do one in Australia and New Zealand at some point when we build enough of a base there. Africa, the different parts of the United States, because I think, I don't know, there is something about that
Yeah.
in-person aspect
For
of it all.
sure. For sure.
And then the other side of that, and this is what we talked about when we were saying, let me see if I can bring this up again. One of the things you'll notice when I show you this right here is that two of these, right? How he memorized 1,189 chapters and memorized an outline of John in 10 minutes. Those are two of the newer videos that we have, and they've already cracked the top 5
Wow.
for the entire year. So what that tells me is that we've struck a chord, and Larry Dinkins and I have talked about this a little bit, and we haven't really had a chance to dive deep. But we've struck a chord. People find value in a couple things. One, quick wins.
Quick wins. For
10
sure.
minutes, and I can memorize the whole outline of John.
Yeah.
I had one lady email me and say that she did this. She printed it off, did it in the car with her kids, and then the next day her kids were able to recite off all 21 chapters of
Amazing.
John.
Yeah.
And
so awesome.
that is so cool. And so Dr. Dinkins and I, and then, we were even talking about it, have just been in talks about, okay, what would it look like to create resources for additional books of the Bible? And then how would that be released? I had no idea I was going to do this, but.
Everyone's saying they would go to Thailand. Well, Larry Dinkins says he would go. He says if there's a retreat in Thailand, I promise to come. There we go. There you go. And then Tassie as well.
All right, Tassie, you would be more than welcome. Okay, so I found this. What is this? What year is this? So I'm looking at a book by a man named Jerry Lucas. He was a former 1975. Okay,
that's like
it's called
almost the year I was born.
Oh, this is older than I am. Okay?
Yeah, it is, because I am older.
We don't talk about that. Okay, this is Remember the Word. Jerry Lucas. He used to be an NBA player.
Oh, okay.
I believe he's still alive. I've tried to contact him.
Oh,
it's been really, really hard.
That would have been so cool.
But he actually created resources similar to what we're talking about with, like, this is the book of Matthew, right? And then images related to Matthew. Here, this is my dad's from a long time ago. But we're just talking about, like, let's see if it can.
Is it going to focus
I
on it?
don't know if it's going to focus or not. Okay, there we go.
There it goes.
It's trying. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to make sense to you unless you know kind of the story behind it. So he's got the book that explains all the visuals. It's a more complicated. I didn't know this existed until my dad gave it to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that's kind of what we're looking to replicate here on a much simpler. Like, he's looking at a lot of like detail within each chapter, whereas what Dr. Larry Dinkins and I have talked about before was more just like a single image to represent an overview of what is the primary story or primary message of that chapter. So that's something that we're looking at creating more of, maybe developing book by book, whether the next book be Acts or another one of the Gospels, or even going through Genesis. Genesis with its 50 chapters lends itself really well to all of the different stories that are happening. The story of Joseph.
I was going to say Joseph. Story of Joseph, of course.
Yeah, but knowing exactly where that happens.
Right.
Well, that's the latter half of Genesis, or that the first 3 chapters, obviously creation and all that stuff. But that makes it. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is a lot of value, and this is something I talk about in the beginning parts of the book that I'm publishing. It's just there are different types of memory.
Yeah,
and that sometimes is mind-blowing to some people. It's like, oh, you mean there's more than just memorizing word for word?
Right.
Yeah, you can memorize an outline. You can memorize like just these images, and I think that can be very freeing,
for sure,
because you can't have these small wins.
Yeah,
they're quick, and it's like, wow, I now remember like where things are in John.
Yeah, and I think once you have those wins, like that could lead to something more, right? Exactly. Like, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to do that. Like once you feel like that confidence, like, okay, I memorized that. I did it, and I survived it. I wanted to do more, and then you take that next step.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
yeah, it just kind of leads down
Yeah.
the line. So, all right, Becky, I know you've been starring some of the questions. If you guys have some questions here, we don't need to make this like a full hour long live stream. We can just kind of go through and yeah, if you have anything you want to add, some feedback, I'd love to hear some of your feedback, as well as any questions related to what we've been talking about here, or even just new ideas. If you think, hey, have you thought about doing this? We had this moment in our time where we just all had to like write down 15 ideas, no matter how bad they were, and put them up on the board. And Tom that's in Orlando, that's very much our mutual friends that do the design thinking would be very proud of that, because that's very much, it's something called design thinking.
We had sticky notes everywhere.
Oh, I know.
That's great.
The design thinking folks, they love sticky notes. Sticky notes go everywhere.
They're fun.
All right, you want to put anything
Well,
out?
I just thought this was fun. We talked about challenges. We asked who's been part of a challenge.
Yep.
Well, Jonathan has been part of 2 challenges, and he agrees that he finds them motivational for sure. So
one of the things that we do with that is there's a post that happens in the community every single day, and it's kind of one of those things where you're supposed to log in, check in, and just say, yes, I've done my memory work. So keep that accountability. So that's really been neat.
I thought, okay, so on the AI discussion, you had a couple comments on that. People are excited to hear about it, and Tom says that he never thought about it. Like it's true. I've never thought about that either. Like AI with Bible memory. I thought about it for other things, like writing copy and things like that. But for Bible memory.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting too. So.
Yeah, I think even just coming up with outlines or images is the big one. There's a lot of ways. And my friend, this is something I'm probably going to talk about a little bit with Keith when I'm up in Seattle, because he has a Bible study AI tool that he uses. And I don't know much about it, but I'm interested to find out.
Okay.
So I'll talk with him about
Here's
that.
an idea from Ronald about the conference idea. Where people recite books in the Bible and give lectures.
Yeah.
That would be what we're looking for.
Ronald's a longtime friend. He's been on the pod.
I remember on a video interview, right? I was helping with that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Ronald.
Ronald, good to see you.
Nice.
Yeah, I think they've got stuff like that already. Scriptorium, I think they've called it in the past, or others. So like there is stuff that currently exists. I recognize that we're not, thinking absolutely mind-blowing new things, but I think there are ways that it can be improved upon and done better.
And I think that one thing we talked about, Josh, was making it fun. Like we want to make this fun. Like people don't want to miss this because we're having so much fun. They can see, it's contagious. Like when you're enthusiastic about something, it's contagious with people. And so that's what we're like spreading here, the fun and enthusiasm.
Exactly.
It's not a boring thing to do to memorize scripture. Like this brings life to people.
Yeah.
And so to share that.
Yeah.
So
while you're finding the next one, I know that Larry Dinkins would be very sad if I didn't mention, because I saw him say it in the comments a little bit, like going from outline, you don't have to go straight into memorizing chapters and books. You can even go into just memorizing stories like that, just short, even couple verse stories, whether that's, a story that Jesus told or a story about Jesus or even one of the Old Testament stories. There are so many easy short stories that you can do. Tom Tatlow is also very into the network, the orality world, which if you've never heard of that before is very interesting. I met up with a gentleman who's actually part of our community here in Dallas who does, he's doing something with, let me see if I can get this right, the oral Bible translation. I think that's what it's called. It's spoken Bible translation. Okay. I couldn't do justice to try to explain it here, so I won't. Okay. But it's just a different way of approaching Bible translation that really focuses on how we interpret things and say them verbally versus how we write things. Right. Because I have noticed that we do it very differently. So
well, along those lines, we can answer this question. I've never heard of the Network of Biblical Storytellers. So
that sounds very much like the Orality Network.
Yeah, I think that's where I thought maybe that's where you're going, but
it might be. I have no idea. So whoever Audacity Draws is, interesting name, or maybe the name's Audacity and he or she draws. There we go.
Yeah, and there's a image up there. It looks like it's a drawn image.
Looks like a drawing. Those two could be the same. I'm not entirely sure. So, but yeah, there are some great kind of storying networks that exist out there that do a lot more in this area than I do. So I do not consider myself an expert in this part at all. I just know that it is a very valuable part, a valuable way of memorizing. And it's one of the things that I point out in the book that talks about, just different types of memorization is just orality and story.
Yeah. All right, so back to back. We're jumping around with topics here,
Okay.
but as the comments come in, I'm like, okay,
Yes,
we'll
go
touch that. So, like in the conference idea, it was to learn a passage or a chapter together using the location the conference is at.
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
Elevating Value is our friend Carlin Day,
Oh, hey,
who
Carlin.
memorized the book of Proverbs and talked about
You
that.
know everybody's YouTube channels, like
Well,
their handles.
Elevating Value. He's got a great email newsletter.
Nice.
And he always comes
Okay,
and he says
okay.
Elevating Value.
Nice.
But yeah, Carlin Day, he's like, he uses the Mind Palace a lot and well, almost exclusively, I guess. And I think that's interesting. Yeah. Or even just having that as a track. You know, you go to some conferences, there are different tracks.
Yeah, little breakout sessions or that's cool.
Very interesting.
All right, here's a fun testimonial on the John outline. So here we go.
I really enjoyed the Book of John by Larry Dinkins. In less than 10 minutes, I succeeded in memorizing all the overview of the Book of John. I really appreciate it. I've gotten so many emails that say that exact same thing. And that's one of the reasons why I've kind of mentally had to kind of pivot in my mind, because I had an idea of the type of resources that I would be creating over the course of the next year. And now I'm having to kind of reconsider and think, okay, this is something that, you know, I'm going to have to really dedicate some time to creating, because it would be not creating from scratch, because I know that, you know, we're standing on the shoulders of other people like Jerry Lucas, like Larry Dinkins, who have done this in the past. But I do think there are ways that, you know, we can try to systematize it or to make it, you know, really helpful for most people. Because the thing about a lot of memory stuff is it's very personal.
Right.
Like if I'm doing a memory palace, it's my memory palace. It's really hard to share it with you. And if you remember from the interview with Larry Dinkins, like a lot of the way that he did some books of the Bible was he would use the alphabet, right?
Right. Yep.
Except not the English alphabet.
No.
The Thai alphabet.
Oh, wow.
And you can't use that.
No, I can't.
I would have a hard time using that. And so, you know, like there would have to be constructing it in a way that would be beneficial to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that's something we could definitely do. So anything else?
Yeah, this is a great question. Could you share? So Norm says, could you share some of the details and benefits of being a patron?
Wow. Well, he just teed that up really good, didn't he? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. For those of you who don't know, like this is not like I've even been sharing with Becky since she's been here. Like we don't make a lot of money on this, and that's not the goal, right? The goal is to encourage and equip people, but we have decided very specifically to do this as a for-profit venture and not a nonprofit venture. And there are a number of reasons for that. One of which I believe is I think that when it comes to something like scripture memory, when we put our time and focus on the things that we invest in, like really invest in, and a lot of times that means putting our money where our mouth is, like we say.
Yep.
And so, you know, I want to kind of help along with that. When it comes to patron, part of like a half of that is just recognizing that this takes a lot of effort to put in. And, you know, the thing that I've said, and we even debated this slightly about the community, should we keep it free? And yes, we're going to keep it free because I want this kind of resource to be available to everybody, no matter their economic status, no matter their geographic location, all of that. So part of being a patron is offsetting the costs that it costs me to make that available and free to everybody. But aside from that, we do have, when you become a patron, you get access to all of our course material. So I talked to you about the new AI course. That's going to be like, we're going to have a small fee associated with that for the general public, but for patrons, you automatically get that the moment we put it out. Same we already did a major system course. We've done the 5-part Bible memory course that we did that talked about a lot of different things. All of that is available. You know, the Bible memory course is $49. The major system is $18. I don't know what we're going to price the AI one. Again, the idea not being like some kind of money grab, it's more just creating value, like adding value to what it is that we're creating and the time that it takes to create these resources. So that is something that you get absolutely free. We have thousands of people in our community. We only have 80 people that are patrons. So there is a lot more intimate interaction that happens among the patrons. Like when we look through a list of patrons, it's like, I know all those names, and most of the patrons kind of know each other, and we interact, and we have patron calls where we just, you know, get to know each other a little bit. When we do when we do challenges, the patrons get we actually do phone calls, like virtual calls, where we can be on, you know, talk and keep each other accountable in that way. Whereas for the free version, you log in and
do the check-ins. You do all the check-ins. but the patrons get the call.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
And then the last thing, and this is something that we're continuing to refine and make even better, is our Barnabas groups.
Mhm.
So these are accountability groups that are voluntary, or they're not obligatory, they're voluntary, that you can join and basically say, we're going to start our next one. Group is going to be September through December, and we put people in groups with a leader that essentially it's their small group, a very tight-knit small group, where they, whether it's through text or monthly calls, however they decide to design it, they create that accountability. So it's for those people, and I've met so many of them, myself included, where we want to have that in person. Like if I had my way, I would have 5 people in, like that are right with me in Thailand that would get together and do this. But a lot of times that's either hard to do from getting the people together, or from, even my time availability or their time availability. So doing it virtually allows, it gives you, it still gives you that accountability without, if you don't have it in person.
Right. Yeah.
Is there anything else I'm missing with the patron side of stuff?
I think you covered it all.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great community to be part of.
We're trying our best to make this as valuable as possible, while also recognizing that, a lot of what you're doing is just helping make this possible. What we're doing, right now, I have to work part-time on what I would call the money-making side of my business to offset all the time that I put into Bible Memory Gold. And if I had my way, I was even selling this to Becky earlier, like I wish I could sell off the money-making side of my business. It's really hard to do so right now, but I wish I could sell that off and just focus exclusively on the Bible memory stuff.
That would be amazing.
Maybe someday we shall. So I've got 2 options for you for patrons. One is either the annual, which is $80, or if you're not sure about how you want to do that, or money's tight, we have a 6-month that is, I think, $45.
Yeah.
So if you'd love to join, we'd love to have you as part of that. And I even would say, and I do this for pretty much anything that we offer that's not a physical, like actual book or product, I am always available to give refunds. If you start it and you're like, you know what, never mind, this isn't what I want, that is perfectly fine. We'll give you a refund if you don't like what you're seeing, or if you don't feel like you're getting enough value out of it. It's just something that we hope to be able to, again, encourage and equip you and really push you on to succeed in whatever it is that your goal is for scripture memory.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Man, you just teed that up. Great.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we have a couple just comments that aren't related, but I think they're great. They're questions.
Yeah,
and so Norm is relatively new. So welcome, Norm. We're so glad that you're here. Asking another question. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So where's the best place to learn about, this is your world. This is your world.
Yeah.
I'm rote memorizer here. So where's the best place to learn about creating and using a memory palace?
Yes. And there's a lot. I've got a couple videos on the YouTube channel. So if you go on the YouTube channel, BibleMemoryGold.com/, well, you're probably watching it on the YouTube channel. Never mind. We have a couple videos, and maybe I can link to them in the description, or you just go ahead and search for Memory Palace within the YouTube channel, and you'll find information on that. I even went through memorizing Psalm 46 using a Mind Palace on the channel here. So if you want to go and find those videos, you can do that. We have an entire space in our community for those people who do memory palaces. And so you can go in there, you can ask questions, you can get feedback on how you're doing it. I have a mind to hopefully, like the book 2 of whatever we're doing might be like how to use a Mind Palace for scripture memory, because I do get a lot of questions about that. But yeah, those I think would be the best resources that we have right now. What else we got?
Cool. Well, this excites me because, again, it confirms what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
So Custer says, I took a break from memory work, but would like to get back in. I love the outline memory idea. Do you have those outlines available?
Yes. So if you wanted to download the John outline, you can go to BibleMemoryGold.com/John outline. That's the one that it does come with an explanation. So if you download that, you can probably, it's self-explanatory within the download, but I recommend you go and watch that live stream that I did with Larry Dinkins. So if you go into the live tab, you'll see that outline of John, and we walk through each of the images, giving a little more explanation. So if you want that, you can find that there. Right now, all I have to give you is John. We're hoping to develop more of the books, which is what I was talking about. But I don't even think this book is in print anymore. There are obviously other resources that are available.
Falling apart.
It's literally falling apart. But no, this book is not in print anymore. And so I do see a place where we could create some
Yeah.
useful resources that aren't currently available.
Yeah.
So that's all we have right now, but hopefully if you want to do that, you can check that out there.
We're going to celebrate with Norm here. You ready?
Okay, let's do it.
So thank you for that. You're welcome.
Aw,
And we look forward to welcoming you to the
Yes.
community. So
looking forward to that.
thanks for that, Norm.
Yeah.
So,
All right. We have, well, maybe give time for any more we got here, or
okay, let's see. There's a question right here.
what's the Patreon name? Oh, my son
Oh.
failed to log on.
Those sons, they got to your phone.
That's awesome. So who knows who this is, but it's their parent. Yeah?
They have kids.
So yeah, like we're thankfully, I'm glad you see that like $80 a year. It's not meant to be something that is super expensive. But it's not Patreon. It's just part of our community. So it's just a patron. So just BibleMemorial.com/patron is where you'll find information on that. I need to, like, one of the things that she was getting on to me about, like one of my to-dos is building out more of a landing page that explains the benefits. Because if you go to that page right now, it's just like a checkout page.
No, because there's so much value
Yeah.
in being a patron, and it's just like, meh. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
just
come on,
one
we can.
paragraph.
Yes, we can do
So,
this.
I will be working on that, but for the time being,
I came here to give him work to do. That's
yeah, it's been a good working dynamic so far.
well. On that note, someone's asking, can you expand on what administrators do behind the scenes? Kind of a fun behind the scenes question.
Yeah, I mean, we spent all day today
All day.
kind of walking through, and we're going to record something after this specifically for our community and post it within the community, because I'll say this for anybody that has ever done anything online, making a website, not that hard. Like getting a website to rank in Google, a little bit harder. Building an email list, that's hard. Doing a YouTube channel, that's really hard. I have never done something as hard as a community in my
Mhm.
life. It's just one of those things where it's almost like you're planting a garden. If you don't tend to it every single day, it's just going to die.
Mhm.
And part of what we spent time doing was making sure how can we increase the engagement to make sure that it is beneficial for everybody, because essentially we're asking somebody to trade their time that they would
Time.
spend on Facebook or anywhere else
Mhm.
and spend it in our community,
Mhm.
and doing so with the hope that it will benefit them in their Bible memory journey. So we have to kind of deliver on that.
Yeah.
And part of a community is us, but a part of the community and what's made our community actually work is people like Mary and Jody and Takeshi. And, yeah,
Yeah.
like I could name 20 other
So
people, and
many,
if you're
yeah.
not on that list right now, I apologize, but like people that have made this community so special. And that's really like us. I'm talking with Becky about how she builds up our volunteer base, the
Mhm.
people that run as moderators of our different spaces, and how do we equip them well? How do we create the resources behind the scenes? Because like I could spend 80 hours on this
Mhm.
stuff if I gave myself permission to do so, and I would love it.
Yeah.
My
I
wife
don't think
and my
the
kids
family would though.
Yeah. She's gotten to meet my wife and sons.
So fun. I got to meet his
Yeah.
boys. I'm a boy mama too. My boys are adult sons
Yeah.
now. So it was fun to revisit young ones.
Yeah.
They're so sweet. Went to Target with them. I'm shopping with the family. It was sweet. Super sweet.
Coming back from Thailand, you gotta go to Target and Walmart. Like these kids just don't understand.
Well,
what
can I
that
share the
means.
cereal story?
Yeah, go for it.
So like in Thailand, apparently there's only one kind of cereal. So this is what the boys.
Very few
This is
times.
according to the boys.
Yes.
There's only one, and it's Fruit Loops. And that's it. That's all they get.
Yeah. And it is
So-
a less sugary version of Fruit Loops, by the
I
way.
was wondering if it was Kellogg's or if it's like an off brand.
No, it is Kellogg's,
But
but it's
less sugar.
Less sugar, designed for the Thai market. 'Cause
Oh,
they would-
interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause
they
they're-
just-
Well, so anyway, here we're in Super Target because we're in Texas, and it's like a row of cereals, and so the boys are just like they get to pick out one box. They get to pick out a box, and it can't be the family size. It has to be like
the small.
yeah. And so I guess they've been trying different cereals all summer.
Yep.
And so they were so excited to pick out cereals.
So my son did like a Reese's.
The Reese's Puffs, those are great. My kids love
Yeah,
those.
And then the other one was like Oreos. Things that
Oreos.
we would never normally give our kids, right? For the parents that are watching this right now, please know that we are better parents than that.
No, it's summertime and they're having a good time, Josh. It's grace. It's all good. And
Yeah.
I thought it was so because they were so excited about
Oh,
cereal.
yeah.
It was
Oh,
like they're so cute. It was so fun. So this boy mama really enjoyed meeting your family. Your wife is adorable and
Yeah.
super sweet. So yeah.
I wish, one of the things I've been able to do, besides just getting to meet with Becky, there are a number of people within the community that I've been able to spend some time with here in Dallas, and even flying up to Seattle and seeing Keith. It is really special to turn a virtual connection into an in-life a real person connection. That more than anything else is one of the reasons why the idea of a conference or an idea of a retreat is really attractive to me. Just because we're not at critical mass in order, I think, to be able to do something like that. But maybe in a couple of years, you never know. I've been surprised at how much the YouTube channel has grown, the audience, over the past just 3 months. Like, it's been a crazy journey for me. And we're, growing the email list, and really just getting to see the impact that a lot of this stuff is having. And quite frankly, like our rate of growth is, for me, the right amount.
Yeah.
Anything more, and I don't think I could handle like all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, my, again, continued hope and prayer is that the resources that we're talking about here, it's not for the sake of Bible Memory Goal, and it's certainly not to make me famous in any way. As a matter of fact, that was one of the things that Becky and I talked a lot about, is I'm trying to find ways over the coming year to pull myself away from the spotlight, like maybe bring other people into the YouTube channel and the podcast, because I don't want this to be about me, but I do, because I want to be able to spend more time actually memorizing. Like, this is something I didn't say. Like, I memorize less because I do this.
Right. I can see that for sure.
And I don't like that, but that's just a reality.
Yep.
And I'd love to be able to get more into it. And the only way is if I can pull back a little bit. But I do think that the more of these type of resources that we can create, or even be a platform for other people. Like, I even saw Leah, I think, who memorized scripture with song. She creates excellent stuff. And I think, just being able to be a platform to shine a spotlight on some of these people that are creating things that are amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be able to do, in hopes that we can inspire even more people to know what they believe.
Yeah.
Know what the Bible says. And hopefully by doing so, just develop a deeper faith and a love for God. So that is my hope. And I am just really appreciative that you're on this journey with us. This is a lot of fun. I hope that these we don't do these kind of behind the scenes very often.
Nope.
And it's so much more fun to do an in-person live.
So fun.
Like,
and usually it's on the screen. Josh is on a screen like halfway across the world, however far time.
I still have the bags under my eyes and everything.
Yeah. And like I'm just waking up and you're ending your day, and I'm like, what day is it for you? I don't even know. And then we're like working out all the tech stuff, but then this has been really fun.
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you all for joining us. I hope that if you have any additional questions, please just reach out, contact@BibleMemoryGoal.com, whether that's about the community, whether it's about anything that we've said here. Please do that. And then I don't have the links to everything right now, but I'll try to fill out all the links in the description below this video. So if you're watching this later and not live, you can look into the description and find all the links that we talked about.
Yep.
May the Lord continue to bless you as you dig deeper into his word and memorize what matters. You guys take care.